Hey everyone, and welcome to Eagle Eye with Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Our first installment of Stay or Go. The written part of this will begin on Monday, but you guys get a sneak peek at the first position we want to talk about is receiver. And we just do these alphabetically. The receivers, there's not a ton of intrigue, but we'll talk about some of the players. JJAW Arcega-Whiteside is the first one. I have him going, Rube. I just think that it's time. They need to upgrade at that position. And maybe I think he'll be in camp. I think he'll have a chance to make the team as a an option as a special teamer and a blocker, but it's time to move on.
Yeah, I would agree. And I have a piece. I'm going to plug my piece here. Is on the site this morning. I took a look at 10 draft experts and what they wrote about JJAW before the draft in 19. It was pretty interesting. Mostly positive, but one guy, and I have to find his name. I couldn't find his name. He worked for some site I never heard of, but he nailed it. He nailed this pick. But most of the scouts were pretty bullish on JJAW. It's interesting to look back and read specifically what they wrote about him. But anyway, yeah, he's not going to be here. I mean, you got to get better at that position, especially if you're going to keep Reagor. You can't have two wide receivers that can't catch the football.
Yeah, and we'll get to Reagor in a second here. But the next one alphabetically is Dion Cain. You guys might not even know who he is. Former 6th-round pick out of Clemson. Began his career with the Colts in 2018 with Nick Sirianni. He's played in the league a little bit. We haven't really seen much of him. I think maybe practice squad again, but not on the final roster. He goes.
Yeah.
Nothing?
No, but I was going to say Keyshawn Johnson, who's on the Eagles practice squad, I think all year, right?
Elevated for a game or two.
Yeah, he's with the 49ers. He signed with the 49ers as a futures player yesterday, which is interesting. He's got more career yards than Jalen Reagor. Yeah, he's actually played in the league.
Yeah. Ugh. Speaking of Jalen Reagor, here he is. He stays.
He has to, and
he has to.
Yeah,
and this is a contract thing. They're not gonna take on the dead money to cut him unless maybe he becomes a problem child or something like that, and they have a reason. But he's gonna be here.
Yeah, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's his cap figure is about $3.4 million, and the dead money would be $7.5, something like that.
Something like that. It would just about double it.
Yeah, so it would cost the Eagles $4 more under their cap to not have him here. Basically, it's not an exorbitant amount when you compared to, the quarterback that they traded to the Colts a year ago, but it's too much. What's that?
You're not going to get a 1st-round pick for Jalen Reagor.
No, you're going to waste one. But I think from a football standpoint, they have to move on. But I don't know what you do because he can't be the number 3. He just can't be. You can't put a guy out there playing 70 snaps a game who can't catch a football, can't get open, and can't run a route, and can't catch a punt, can't run an end around, can't run a jet sweep. I mean, I don't. So for financial reasons, you keep him, but then you just kind of stash him on, make him inactive every week. I just don't know what you do with him. Without knowing the cap situation, what they're going to do in free agency, if there's any way to cut him, I would cut him, just because I just don't want
any way to trade him. You think anyone would give anything for him?
Yeah, I think you get a conditional 8 for him.
Maybe someone liked him, and obviously teams liked him in the draft. Maybe not as much as the Eagles, but he would have been a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, but do you want to take on the embarrassment of trading a 1st-round pick for a 6th-round pick 2 years later?
Yes.
And you still have a cap hit, but you might get, you get a late-round pick. I would do it. If somebody offered me anything, somebody offered me a 7, I would do it. Conditional 7. You don't get anything unless he catches 30 passes and then becomes a 7. I would take it. Yeah. And then if he catches 50, he becomes a 6. If he catches 70, he becomes a 5. But it just hamstrings the whole position because I just feel like if he's here, they're going to play him and he's not going to help. And they need to put 3 really good receivers out there, and they just don't have them. So it's a problem.
DeVonta Smith is next. Are you going to keep him, Rube?
Yeah, I have him. I thought long and hard about it. I'm looking forward to seeing his growth, which, as you know, I think as Jalen gets better, hopefully, that DeVonta's numbers are going to increase. The thing about DeVonta, like, he didn't have a lot of easy catches. Like, there weren't a lot of DeVonta's open, throw him the ball. I mean, he made some circus catches and incredible catches. And then there were a few, but once he starts getting some easy catches, I mean, I think his performance is going to go through the roof. And I see him being like a 1,400 yard guy next year.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, honestly. I think it's a reasonable expectation for him to get better in year 2. And whatever you think about Jalen Hurts, if he's the quarterback next year, that's the second year with the quarterback. People made a big deal about them playing together before, but I mean, it was a long time ago. And they were both different players when they got here.
Yeah,
so
completely different offense.
Yeah. So the second year in the system, second year with the quarterback, I think it's reasonable to expect 1,400 yards.
Yeah, but the quarterback has to get better for that to happen. But we'll see about that. But yeah, I'm excited. It's been so long since they've had a young receiver to be excited about. It's been 12 years since they drafted Macklin.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you the next one. This might be the trickiest one of the bunch. Greg Ward, what do you do with him?
Yeah, I think a lot of it obviously has to do with what you do in the draft. They didn't use him very much. He produced for the most part when they did. He played a lot of snaps. He never got the ball. I don't know. I like Greg Ward, and I think there's value in having a guy who can do what he can do, but they just didn't really use him this past year. So I'm fine keeping him. I tend to think he'll be here. But certainly if they want to upgrade, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I have him going. He's a restricted free agent, so they're not going to tender him. I can't see them paying him $2 million to not throw him the ball. So maybe they sign him on a cheap deal. He comes back. But in a way, I'm almost like kind of rooting for him to go somewhere else and have a different opportunity. I don't think it's going to happen here. I don't think they particularly want to play him, this coaching staff. And I think he can play a little bit. I think we all kind of understand there's limitations, but he's a decent little player.
Yeah, and I thought he was used perfectly 2 years ago where, he would move the sticks on third down. It was 3rd and 5, he would get you 6 yards. So the largest truck I've ever seen in my life.
I heard that. Did it drive through the front door? What happened there?
Driving in my front yard.
Yeah.
It's like the largest truck I've ever seen. You ever see that Spielberg movie about that truck that's chasing the guy?
Oh, Jurassic Park?
No, it's not about a truck. It's about dinosaurs.
Oh.
It's called like Chase or something. It has no dialogue. It's the first movie Spielberg ever made, and somebody's going to tweet to me the name. I'm going to look it up here, but it's amazing. There's no dialogue. The whole movie is a giant truck chasing a guy, and it's called Duel. It's called Duel, and it never explains why the truck. See the truck. You never see the driver. It's just the truck is like the evil character in the movie, and the truck kind of takes on a personality and a life of its own. It's really well done, and check it out. Duel, Spielberg. And there's no dialogue. The only dialogue is when the guy who's the truck is chasing, he's in a phone booth trying to get help, and then the phone booth doesn't. But anyway, it's I don't know how we got on this, but that's the truck. I see Spielberg out there.
If you have to leave, feel free to take off, man.
There's a truck trying to get me. Anyway, I think you make a good point about Ward. He's not going to be. Look, if he wasn't in the rotation this year,
you'd hope they upgrade the position.
How is he going to be in the rotation next year when? Yeah, so I'm going to say he's gone. I think that makes sense for him. I mean, he wants to play, and he's not going to get that opportunity here. So yeah, I'll say he goes.
Okay. The last one's Quez Watkins. I think we agree that he's going to be here. What do you think of his ceiling, though? Because Nick Sirianni certainly seems to like Quez Watkins. He called him his number 2. Do you think he can be a number 2 in this league, or do you think he's not?
I think saying Quez was number 2 is more of a statement on Reagor than a statement on Quez. But
I do think Sirianni likes him quite a bit.
Yeah, I think he could be. I mean, for him to have 647 yards, I think was the number this year, when he was the third receiver for the most part, and I know people there was routes he stopped on. There was things, he's a 6th-round pick. You're going to be a raw talent. You think about where he came from last year to this year. I think he can be a 2. I think ideally he's a 3. I think a really dangerous 3, because he's 150 yards from being an 800-yard receiver. So I see him being that kind of guy. Like, we're putting these numbers out. Like, we got DeVonta with 1,300 yards, Quez with 800 yards, and they run the ball 50 times a game. It's going to be tough for that to happen. But I really like Quez, and I think he's got a lot of upside. I was bullish on him coming into the season. People thought I was crazy. I mean, I really liked what I saw just in the brief times that we saw him his rookie year at the end of the year. But I think ideally DeVonta, veteran free agent guy, comes in, Quez is the 3, and maybe at some point in the next couple of years Quez can be a 2, but I just think he'd be a really good 3 right now.
I'm with you. I'd like to see them get him outside at times too. I know that if they sign a free agent receiver, he's probably going to be an outside receiver,
right?
And that forces Quez in the slot. But I think Quez has some versatility. I think he can line up outside. I think he can line up inside. I'd like to get that speed outside at times and let him stretch the field from the perimeter and not just in the seam. And he's done that at times, but I'd like to see a little more of that. I would have liked to see more of that in the past season and try to get something out of Reagor in the slot, and I never really seemed to do that. Or get Reagor off the field and put Gainwell in the slot, I was carrying that flag for a while. Didn't go my way.
You were. I like the fact that Quez, I think as the year went on, you saw the mid-range game develop. Just because a guy's a speedster doesn't mean it's got to be all go routes. I mean, you can use that speed to get open in the mid-range game, and he was really dangerous doing that. Those 18 to 25 yards. We saw him do that. That was really, really encouraging. He's got pretty good hands. I mean, he had a couple notable drops, bad drops, but for the most part, he's got good hands. I think he just needs to play. He just needs experience. I mean, he's a raw talent coming out. To be a 6th-round pick, that's a lot of teams passing on you. So I'll plug another story. I had my Howie's top 10 value picks since 2016 when he was reinstated. Some of these guys, we talk about guys like Malata and Quez and Gainwell. These are late-round guys, and they've done pretty well in the later rounds. We talked about Driscoll, who was a 4. So to get a guy like Quez in the 6th round that's a hell of a pick.
Maybe they should flip one of those ones for a 2 6 and a 7.
Somebody tweeted that to me after reading the story. They said, "Can we just trade the 3 1s for 3 4s?" You could probably get that deal. But if they could draft as well relatively in the 1st round as they do in the 3rd through 7th, a guy like Jalen Mills, 7th round pick. So it's a strange dynamic. It's kind of it's all backwards.
You got anything else?
No, it's good. Sunday's going to suck having a Sunday with no football. That's going to be
Pro
rough.
Bowl. Eagles have 5 players.
You're not going to watch the Pro Bowl, are you?
Maybe.
You're going to watch. Oh my God.
I want them to bring back the skills competition.
Yeah, I like that.
That was fun.
Yeah, I basically hate all All-Star games.
Do you?
I really do. Baseball's the only one, but I like watching the introductions, and I'll watch maybe the first 3 innings, and I'll lose interest. But, basketball's like, the thing is I love about basketball, like defense, and they don't do that in the All-Star game. Same with hockey. Pro Bowl's a joke. It's not even football. It's like 2-hand touch. Can't watch that. Baseball's the only one that's like actually the same game. It's actually the game. They're actually playing baseball. But like the All-Star game used to be like, well, here's a one-eye story. When I was growing up, it was like that was your chance to see like the American League guys that you never got to see. Wow, there's Boo Powell, like there's Harmon Killebrew. We saw his home run in the Mall of America. We saw with the spot where Harmon Killebrew hit that home run. But he didn't hit it in the mall. He hit it in the stadium. That was where the mall was built. But anyway, I don't like All-Star games. I won't watch the Pro Bowl. I'll find something else to do. I'll find a college basketball game or something.
All right. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye Podcast, please do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe there as well. That's it. We'll be back with you next week. For Reuben, I'm Dave. This has been Eagle Eye. We'll talk soon.